Ladies Den. My name's Yolanda Lewis, host of Grown Women Real Talk. And today we're talking about tit for tat. You know, the kind of tit for tat that says, you hurt me, so I got to find a way to hurt you back first. Right. That's what we're talking about today. Join us. And today we have two fabulous guests joining us. We have Dr. Valencia Stinson, and we have Keba Richmond-Green. Welcome, ladies, to Grown Women Real Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I'm glad to have you here. Okay, ladies, so let's talk. Today we're talking about tit for tat. And I want to ask you guys, in your practice and in your career, how often do you see women dealing with issues of tit for tat? And before you answer that, I will say that a lot of times I think that women or people in general use that tit for tat behavior as a social mechanism to protect and avoid feelings. So back to the question, how often do you see women who deal with the tit for tat behavior in your practice and in your career?
This is a subject that's all things communication.
Right.
That's what I would say, because it is across the board. You see it every day. You see it in everything, intrapersonal, interpersonal, your small group, public communication. You see it everywhere.
Right.
So I would say you see it everywhere you go all the time.
Right.
Absolutely. In your family dynamics, everywhere is what we call passive aggressive behavior, right? And so it's a way to either, like you said, it's a strategy used to protect ourselves or when we feel like we're not being heard, so we don't voice our opinion.
Right.
And so that's why we choose it. So yes, we see it daily, especially with our clientele, I'm sure.
Right. I love that. And I love that you brought up the passive aggressiveness, because with passive aggressive behavior, I think there's a concept or point of egoism. I think that's what it's called, but egotistical nature, where you're a little bit only thinking about yourself in that passive aggressive behavior. You don't want to confront maybe I don't know. Give me some of the other reasons why people would tap into that passive aggressive behavior in order to deal with that tit for tat type of relationship, and even what they're looking for in that tit for tat exchange.
Even the names that we associate with that would give you some insight, because we will say the person is belittling someone else, or now you hear throwing shade.
Right.
You know, that even those names themselves, the etymology of those names tell you something about what we are doing.
Right.
If it's belittling, it means I need to make something else or somebody else appear smaller.
Right.
If I'm throwing shade, that means there is something that needs to be covered, because the shade covers, correct?
Right.
So that means I'm trying to cover the light of something else.
Right.
So why would I need to do that?
Right.
I need to cover somebody else's light because it feels too bright to my darkness. So even those things say something about what we're doing.
Right.
So that's why we do it. It may not even just be so much protection as it may be an aggressive attack, because I don't want to attack myself. So I'm going to attack you.
And to come from the other area of the guardedness, from a guarded place of hurt. You may we see the aggressive side, but we also may see the passive side, where the person is considered naive, or maybe the nice friend who never has an opinion, who never voices or says anything. They just kind of go along, get along. But she has many opinions. But again, you either feel like you're not heard or your voice is not counted. And so we withhold or withdraw in order to, again, protect ourselves from our own internal emotions that we're dealing with, is really what it comes back to.
So, with Grown Women Real Talk, I like to keep things real, because that helps people. And so when we're talking about passive aggressive behavior, tell me about some of the situations of where that can come from. So, for example, for me, I used to have passive aggressive tendencies because I felt unheard. I dealt with issues of molest growing up as a child, and different scenarios in that realm. And so as I developed relationships as I got older, I took on that passive aggressive nature, because number one, I wasn't throwing shade on someone else. I was throwing shade more, I guess, covering my own light, because I didn't want to deal with the darkness within, as we talked about. So what are some of the other circumstances and scenarios and issues that women go through that may cause them to have this passive aggressive behavior and then act it out in a tit for tat communication style in any relationship, because it's not just French girlfriend. You see tit for tat in romantic relationships.
Right. That's Facebook.
Social media.
Yes,
like you said, even in marriages, it's funny that you say that. Like, it's always one upping each other. Or, I'm gonna get you before you get me, and that type of thing. So yes, it's usually generational, passed down from mother to daughter or grandmother to And I agree. I'm the same way. I was definitely passive aggressive, and in reading up on it, I'm like, oh my God, I've been practicing this behavior. And so, things even as simple as you're talking to me and I'm on my phone.
Right.
That's passive aggressive behavior. I'm not giving you attention. I'm not communicating with you directly.
Right.
I'm ignoring you for whatever reason that my issues are of me. I don't want to address the issue. I don't want to confront what you're talking about. I don't want to hear. You tell me about me, right? Okay, that's part of that passive, and we learn that again from home. It starts at home. How you communicate, how your mother communicates when she talks to her mother, how she communicates when she handles the bill collector's call. Does she avoid the phone calls? Does she take the call and handle it directly and work out a plan, or does she cuss and fuss? All those things are passed down, and that's where we learn behavior. It's learned behavior.
It is. And our first relationship is with ourselves. And if we are never taught how to communicate, because it's language. It's basic language. It is. And so what you are communicating language-wise to yourself is what translates to the other person. And it's a 90-10 relationship. 90% of what I do with you is how I feel about me.
That's right. That's right.
And that's relationship.
And that's relationship. And 10% of how I feel about you. So you asked, your question was, where do we get that broken behavior? And it is because we become broken, or so it's twofold, right? It's natural and it's spiritual. So that's what we're talking about all the time. All things communication.
That's right.
We are either dealing with our physical relationship, natural or spiritual. So natural relationship, it may be broken just because habitually the family, my mom did it, my grandmother did it, so that's the natural, but it comes from that spiritual part that's broken because somebody broke a relationship with me, and their relationship was broken with God.
Well, I mean, that starts in the womb. That's spiritually in the womb. The hurt starts there, and then it's perpetrated outside, internally, once you're born. You understand what I'm saying? But it starts in the womb with the mother being hurt. It's passed down through the bloodline. I mean, we don't want to go too spiritual with it, but you know what I'm saying. Like, that's what it is. But it is what it is because that blood cord, that cord that they snap, it's attached for a reason. And every emotion that she feels is being passed through that to that unborn child. And they come out and you wonder why they act this way or why they do this or this behavior is so... Oh my God, they act like my grandfather. They didn't even know my grandfather. Yes, it's spiritual. It's more than the eye can see. And once we learn that about ourselves, I love that 90-10 rule. Once we tap into that inner spirit and get to see that with that third eye ourselves, then we can start to recognize the behaviors that we're perpetrating and we're putting out. Because you want to know, why does this person treat me like this? Or why does everybody, why everybody on the job don't like me? Or why every time I go somewhere this is happening? Because that's the energy, that's the internal you being displayed out, and that's what people are receiving.
But it is not the truth, because the message that you got, that language that you said to yourself, that intrapersonal communication wasn't the true language. And so even when we talk about casting shade, you could not... that literally means in the Germanic Old English etymology of the word, it means that a shadow is being cast. Well, you can only cast a shadow when there's daylight. So when that shadow is being cast, it means that the light is attempting to be hidden. And when a shadow is happening, there are two different entities that you see. You see the real, and you see a huge
imagery.
A huge image. And so then what it becomes is, which one is me?
Awesome.
Which one is me? And so if your language is incorrect because it has been passed down incorrectly, because your angel that you were looking for, your mom, your angel had one wing, and she can't give give me to.
No.
I'm not going to be able to fly or stay in the light because I was not given that.
Right.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. I'm telling you, that was beautiful. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that you brought in both of you brought in the spiritual aspect. Because it's critical to identifying that tit for tat behavior in relationships. It's critical to identify not only where it's coming from, but how far back, how deep rooted.
Yes.
Oh my God,
it's rooted in it.
Yes. So thank you for bringing light to that point, both of you. Thank you so much. So with that, I want to shift the conversation just a bit into compromise.
Yes.
So in terms of compromise, tit for tat behavior, a lot of times women, especially nowadays, where women are feeling themselves and doing greater, bigger, better things. Yeah. Which I don't throw shade on. Right. Because even I'm doing great things too, and I love where I'm at. But with that, you can tend to feel, and I've heard in my experiences with coaching and such, you can tend to feel that forgiveness and compromise and some of those things that turn that tit for tat behavior and shift those spiritual dimensions, you can look at them as weaknesses. So I want to ask the two of you, how does a person who looks at compromise as something that is more on the weak side of the scale, shift their mind and their thought and their focus to see that, and I want you to break down compromise too, but to see that as something that's beneficial in communicating outside of that tit for tat behavior. Does that make sense?
Okay. So beneficial to their growth.
Yes, beneficial to their growth.
I think that it's so important to understand, like you said, that communication, that line. Yes. And so if we can learn to embrace our differences, instead of our flaws or our weaknesses, then we'll be great, right? But again, the message that we got, those messages we got early on has told us that it was wrong. Something was wrong with that weakness. Not necessarily so. It's different. It's different than you. It's different than you. But that doesn't mean it's wrong or it's weak. Weak, it just means it's different. And God made me unique and special. I am a peculiar person, right? I am. And so, and I had to learn how to embrace that difference, because growing up, and as children, we tease each other, we compare ourselves, and so that peer pressure is really, especially today. We know that bullying,
even as adults, even peer pressure as adults,
it's hard. And like you said, the competition with women to maintain and keep that level of whatever that is.
And women with gifts too. Women with gifts, you see it all the time.
Oh my goodness. In the spiritual realm,
you do.
Yeah, you do.
No,
you want to compete
where we could write it up, tell it all out. So
say it like
so you're saying competing with your gifts?
Yeah, I'm saying that a lot of times when you walk into a room and these women have gifts, and I'm so excited, I'm like, it's a God gorgeous day. That's how I am. But I have been in places where I've approached you and I love what you do. And I remember one year, I was so excited about her book, and I said, hey, can you show me? And she said, I paid my dues. You need to pay yours.
Wow.
And I'm like,
wow.
Oh, okay. My little gift over here. So it is the lack of understanding.
Yes.
Because something was broken.
Yes.
Something was broken. And because I understood it, I still was okay. But had I not,
you weren't in that place. That's right. Actually, that happened to me today. I mean, it really did. I came in, I was excited, I spoke with someone, and they completely ignored me. And I could have instantly got offended. But I went and I said, whatever that is that they're experiencing, I'm going to pray for that. They may be having a bad day. Something could be going on. They could be distracted. I'm not going to let that ruin my day. And I'm not going to take that personally. You understand what I'm saying? Because they don't know me. And I don't know them. And I don't know what they're experiencing
and
right now.
The 90%. That's the 90%. That's the 90%.
And, I think that 90-10 rule is going to save some women's relationships.
I love that 90-10.
Because that's one of the things that I personally coach on with women is not to take everything so personal. You don't
take
need
it
to.
on.
You don't need to embrace other people's issues. Even if you're a giving person, loving person, and all that, you can still be you and embrace you and love the person without taking on their issues.
But I think that's what that compromise come back to, boundaries.
Yes.
So to answer your question again about compromise from another perspective, there is a promise for us. There is something expected for us when we are able to work together. Right. So with that expectation, if I can keep in mind that there is a bigger picture, and so my relationship and your relationship keep mine with all our relationships. If I can keep in mind that whatever's trying to break it is not bigger than what's ahead of us, then that expectation should keep me going. And so what it looks like, because I always have to know what it looks like. So what compromise has to look like is that I am able to authentically be myself with you.
Yes.
I'm able to do that. And I'm able to give you room. And I may be able to even just disagree. And say that I just disagree.
And it's okay.
And fight fair.
Yes.
So I don't have to do tit for tat then. I can fight fair and say, hey, I really don't wear that cologne because I'm going to put you out of my car. I'm telling you, I don't like it. It's too strong, but I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right.
And then we are able to see a bigger
that
picture.
Is so true.
Oh, that's so good. To tell the truth. That's so good.
And I was just going to say that because women don't.
No.
Women especially. And you're almost, yes. Well, we're almost trained to. What about?
I was going to say we were trained to.
What about when you say, girl, where you get that dress from? First of all, I've never liked that question because I don't want to tell you where I got it from.
Does it matter?
And I can say that it doesn't. If it looks good, just tell me it looks good. You know?
But I want one.
I know, but go get one.
Go find it. Go research, right?
Yes, be okay with getting your own. And so what happens then when you're uncomfortable in that space? Like, I really don't want to tell you where I got it from.
Right.
You learn to say, oh, this, girl.
This whole thing, I had it a long time.
But you didn't even answer the question.
Right.
Oh, girl,
there we go.
It.
Back to it.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah. But you're right. So we were trained to absolutely be polite, be nice. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
You think that's regional? You think it might be?
No.
You don't think
no,
it has nothing to do with
okay. No. Right. My northern friends, especially New Yorkers, they are not, they are like off the cuff.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I was asking.
Well, I was going to say something opposite, actually. I was going to say that I was raised, if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say anything at all.
Right.
So what that did though for me was I had to learn how to practice saying what I don't like.
How to be tactful.
In a nice way.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
See, and I think in the South, I was raised in the South. You just don't say it.
Yeah.
You just smile.
You just smile.
And nod.
Yeah. So maybe it is a little bit regional. I would also say religious as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely religious.
So those roles,
say, yeah.
Because our roles may give us a little.
Absolutely, that matters.
Okay, so now here is the breaking point because it's reality TV.
Right.
So here's the reality TV was a breaking point.
It was.
Yeah. For tit for tat.
Right.
For saying what I want to say the way that I want to say
absolutely,
it.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the break. Right. And so now, honestly and truly, I just think maybe if we can get to a happy medium now, because we were way over
saw
there,
that, and then we saw
the other
exactly.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to bring it back in the middle.
Well,
now.
I think that it's the responsibility of people.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
if we can start that dialogue here with Grown Real Talk and getting women to understand that you can have that, I don't want to call it a happy medium per se, but that authentic, true place where you can be yourself and still say how you feel. Right. And it's okay with the world. Ladies, I had an absolutely wonderful time with you here today. Thank you so much for joining me on Grown and Real Talk.
Thank you.
You betcha. And if folks want to reach further out to you and find out more about what you do, how can they reach you?
Okay, you would look for Dr. Valencia Sylvain Stinson on Facebook at this point at Valencia Sylvain Stinson. You can look for me in June at Women of Purpose. It's a conference for empowerment. I'll be speaking about single women going to the next level in their singlehood. Also, look for the books by the end of the year. Penelope the Peacock and the Leaning Tree. Penelope is about a young peacock who goes on a self-esteem journey. So just self-esteem and growing, that's what we're talking about. And then for The Leaning Tree is a book about domestic violence from two different sides, the person that has been experiencing violence and the children.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you can find me, Keba Richmond-Green, on Facebook. Also, my website is KebaRichmondGreen.com. Every week you can catch me on iHeartRadio on 6Air102 TV. I am the expert therapist on there. And you can catch me on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope at Mind Games Consulting.
Awesome, awesome, ladies. Thank you again. I had a blast.
Thank you.
You bet.